He was going to be our third roommate.
He helped out with the rent. Then he helped himself to your girlfriend.
Correct.
Hey, try not to hold each other's hands. Let's do the coochie-coochie someplace else.
Kamar Jalil is suing his former roommates, Katie Calderon and Amante Nepomuceno, for rent and the cost of 2 cats.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Case 2170, Jalil versus Calderon Nepomuceno.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Calderon,
Hello.
what's your first name?
Amante.
Amante.
Yeah.
Good. It's much easier than your last name for me to pronounce. Mr. Jalil, this roughly is what the case is about. You and Miss Calderon were in a relationship for a period of time. You decided to take an apartment. You were both on the lease. So far, correct?
Correct.
Your arrangement with Miss Calderon, which seems to be consistent in both your complaint and your answer, is that you had a much better paying job. She was going to provide the food and some other stuff for the house, and you were going to be covering the rent when you lived together, which you did.
Correct.
There came a time when Amante, who was a friend of yours, came to live with you. According to you, he was going to help out with the rent.
Correct.
He came, he lived with you, he helped out with the rent for maybe a period of time, and then he helped himself to your girlfriend.
Correct.
Now they're a couple. When you were no longer a couple with Miss Calderon, she stayed in the apartment for a period of time, but then they both left.
Correct.
And you're suing both of them for rent and for the return of 2 cats that they took when they left. You claim the cats are yours.
That's correct.
That's what the case is about. And some cat expenses in the event that I let them keep the cat. Cats. 2 cats. So when did you and Miss Calderon sign a lease together?
We signed the lease together at the end of July with the landlord present.
July of 2022?
July of 2021. Correct.
And it was for a year?
Correct.
And you had a job working for whom, sir?
I worked for a company called Steris.
What do they do?
They provide medical equipment to hospitals all over the world.
How long have you been working for them?
I'm going to have 8 years under my belt this year.
And when you moved into the apartment in July of 2021, what kind of work was Miss Calderon doing?
At the time, she was working at an animal hotel.
It was a pet daycare boarding facility.
Okay. Were you an hourly employee?
I was an hourly employee.
And I am correct that when you moved in July, your arrangement was that you were going to pay the rent.
That was
The arrangement.
correct.
When did Amante come to live with you?
About August to
That's
Right.
correct.
Shh.
he
Just,
Amante was going to be our third roommate.
you mean 1, 2, 3?
Correct.
Well, you're not roommates, really. You and the defendant, Miss Calderon, were not roommates. You shared a room.
We shared a room and
And Amante was going to live where?
in another room.
And what was your arrangement with Amante with regard to paying rent?
We would split the rent 3 ways.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And how much was your share of the rent?
I would say approximately 927.
How long did you live there?
I was there when they signed the lease. I watched it all happen when they signed the lease. I came in, they signed
Okay.
everything.
Well, you didn't sign the lease,
I did not.
but you were there from the beginning?
Yes.
And it was your agreement with the plaintiff that you would pay a third of the rent?
Yes.
Great.
We asked the landlord
Okay,
to.
so, hey, try not to hold each other's hands. Let's do the coochie-coochie someplace else. So you agreed with the plaintiff that despite the fact that you were not on the lease, you were going to assume the responsibility of a third of the rent, $927.
Yes.
So you moved in July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. You left in April?
Yeah.
So you were there for 9 months.
Yes.
Did you pay rent for the 9 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
He paid rent for about the 7.5 months.
Okay. And then you left.
Yes.
Why did you leave?
I decided to leave because he decided to go to another place he was offered. So
What do you
I
mean he
could-
decided to go to another place
He
that was...
got a place from his grandparents in another city. So I couldn't hold down the rent with her. So I decided to leave to save money and go back to my parents' house.
Now, Mr. Jalil, you see, you don't make up a story like that, like he just told me. a lot of that has the ring of truth to it. Where are you living now?
My grandparents' house in an in-law unit
So when did you tell them that you were going to a different place?
in March.
When did you leave?
I left in July.
Did you let him know that you were staying until the end of the lease?
I
What?
I
What?
I discussed with them that I would be leaving, but I would stick around to help them find either a different location or even suggesting that we all went back to our respective families just to, call it.
Mr. Jalil, this isn't working for you. I have to tell you something, sir. This case is not working for you at all. And it's only because Mr. Amante is very direct with me that you're suing them for $10,000. Where does that come from in your mind? Your agreement with her was you were going to pay the rent. You're never out of pocket. Your agreement was you were going to pay the rent. He paid his rent when he was there. He paid his 1/3. You then told them you were leaving. That's a whole different story than what you wrote in your complaint, Mr. Jalil. Do you understand?
Correct.
It's a whole different story. So, at best, Amante would owe you for 3 months' rent if they just left. But you told them that you were leaving. Now, when did you find out that they were a couple?
I found out at the end of April.
Were you all living together?
Yes.
So you just had 2 months left to the lease. So he was paying you. He paid you in March. You had May, June. You signed the lease in July. So it was over at the end of June, June 30th.
It would have been over at the end of July, Your Honor.
Well, she doesn't owe you any money for rent. At most, he owes you 2 months' rent. Tell me why you left.
My job doesn't pay that well, so I decided to go back to my parents' house.
When you took this apartment, this expensive apartment that was almost $3,000 a month rent, had you had a discussion with Amante about moving in with you before?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Jalil, I'm reading your complaint because something wasn't registering right with me. You say you moved into the apartment together in August of 2021. Then you go through a whole bunch of stuff about a cat and then another adopted cat. You said in October we adopted a second cat. Around this same time, a third roommate moved in to shoulder some of the rent. Well, that's not true. He moved in right at the beginning.
And that was...
That was what?
That was...
A mistake.
That was a mistake.
Okay. But Amante acknowledges that he agreed right at the beginning. He volunteered the fact that he was there at the lease signing because it was agreed at the lease signing that he was going to pay a third of the rent. So, sir, you owe him rent as long as you show me that you've paid the rent. You moved out in July?
Yes.
And you paid your rent through July, or were you evicted?
No, I paid my rent in July.
Through July?
Yes.
Okay. 1854. Amante, you owe him $1,854. That's for 2 months' rent. Got it?
Okay.
I'm not subtracting anything because you stole his girlfriend.
That's fair.
Now let's deal with the issue with the cats. She doesn't owe you any rent. That was not your agreement with her. You moved out in July. August, September, October, November, December. 5 months ago, she's had both cats, right?
Correct.
She says they're her cats. When did you first file a small claims case?
September of 2022.
What were you requesting when you filed your small claims case? Be careful.
I was requesting either the return of both cats or $5,000, which was the accumulated expense of not just the cats, but also the expenses of her dogs as well. So any animal expenses for the time.
That's not happening for you, Mr. Jalil. When the cats were either registered or went to the vet, whose name is on the sheet as owner?
I believe it was Miss Calderon.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And she owns the cats, and she's had them for the last 5 months. I suggest that you go and adopt 2 more if you want some more cats. Do you understand?
Yes.
You were living together as a couple. However, your friend Amante has to pay you for the couple of months' rent that he didn't because he says, not you, he volunteered that was your agreement from the very beginning. So he owes you $1,854. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I think he's just kind of butthurt that I moved on.
At least now I can put everything behind me and say that I did try.
I didn't think it would escalate this far.
All you can do in a situation like this is just you learn from it and you move on.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
This is what it is. It's life.
I find fascinating, Sarah, that people will write and or be assisted in writing a complaint and an answer, but they read it over. This man is an intelligent man. He has a serious job for 8 years. First of all, he was suing for $10,000. Come up with that money. $5,000 for the cat's expenses, ridiculous. But his complaint had really nothing to, even the timeline.
As your clerk, I know that is a pet peeve of yours when
I don't understand
they
it.
don't match up.
If you're going to tell a lie,
at least tell a consistent lie.
right.
I think the right thing happened. I think the defendant friend admitted himself that he owed the rent, and that was great, even though he probably should have just kept his mouth shut.
And not said, I was there when the lease was signed. This was always our agreement. I was going to be the third.
But he was honest, which we always appreciate. And so I think the right thing.
So
I think he needs to, like you say, put a period, move on.
Anyway, all happy, and they look happy. They couldn't keep their hands off each other.
A lot. The case is just a lot. Like, it's just a lot. What? Also, the whole case is about the plaintiff suing for rent and also the cost of a cat. And according to Judge Judy, she doesn't believe that that's all he's suing for, because what she saw, most especially from the whole thing, was that he's actually suing for the return of his girlfriend. So his girlfriend was stolen. Okay, this is how the whole story started. Following what Judge Judy said in the whole case, he and his girlfriend rented a place, and then his friend moved in with them. They adopted 2 cats, and while they adopted the 2 cats, their friend moved in with them, and they were living together, all together, So while they were living together, the friend and the girlfriend started dating without his knowledge and all of that. And at the end of the day, the friend stole his girlfriend. So the case is just crowded and all of that. But listening to the case, you will understand that the plaintiff lied in the whole case. He lied a lot. Like, the defendant, that's the Amante now, the friend to the new boyfriend now, was more honest than the defendant. If than the plaintiff, if the defendant had said he's not owing any rent, actually, he wouldn't have paid anything to the defendant. But because he admitted that he was with them in the beginning, even when they signed the lease, that was why Judge Judy requested that he had to pay the 2-month rent of about $1,808 something, which makes sense to me. But another thing I didn't agree with was what the plaintiff said about the cats. Why will you adopt a cat in your girlfriend's name and you are requesting for the cat back? It is registered in her name, so automatically it means the cat belongs to her. So I like the ruling that Judge Judy gave on the cat issue, that the cat remains with the plaintiff, most especially for the fact that the plaintiff have been taking care of the cat for the past 4 to 5 months, according to Judge Judy. So the cat remains with her, and the fact that all the vet bills are in her name, the cats were registered in her name. So I agree with that. But this relationship thing is what I really don't agree with. Coming to somebody's house, I think they had an agreement, but it doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, you stole his girlfriend, and they even came to court and they were romancing each other. It was hurtful. You could see it in his face that he was in pains, but what can he do? He's just a man, and all of that. So that's what the whole case is about. Sincerely, there is nothing more about the case. The case is a small case that even didn't take long for Judge Judy to decide. They agreed to pay the rent. And there's one more thing. Sorry, I forgot. There's one more thing. You will not rent a place. I understand they were a couple, but how will you rent a place and you say, okay, I'll pay the rent, you take care of feeding? No. Let's just split the thing, because he said he made more money than her. That was why he said, okay, he will pay the rent while she take care of their feeding and other little expenses. But I actually don't agree with that. And I don't think anybody should take that risk of telling somebody that, okay, you pay the rent, let me take care of our, you take care of our feeding, let me always pay the rent. No. If we are just in a relationship and we want to live together, let's just split the bills all together, instead of one having to do the other things and then you doing your own things. At the end of the day, Judge Judy awarded the plaintiff $1,800 and something dollar, and it's not a bad place. He was suing for $10,000, which doesn't make any sense. He's a scammer. He's a scammer. But she awarded him $1,800, which was for the rent for 2 months, and I agree with that judgment. I believe that you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let's hear what you think about the case. Thank you. See you next time.